This is Door 4, Chapter 4, from my book, The 7 Doors of True Healing. This is Trent Nelson. My book is The 7 Doors of True Healing, available at www.lulu.com/Trent Inspires. Door 4, Your Birth Team Trauma. Your birth team. Most likely everyone you know was born through a birth canal after spending approximately 9 months in a womb. This, I think, can be reasonably assumed. Yes, there are accounts of those in existence who were not born through the birth canal, as I'm sure you're aware. The most popular figures of non-birth existence are Jesus Christ and Babaji. This information, however, is being given to those people who were born through a birth canal and who, as a way to understand how the process of conception, gestation in the womb, and the actual birth process affects your day-to-day psychology, and I'm about to inform you that it is profoundly impacting your psychology. I'm not sharing the information in this format for the purpose of heavy religious debate, and for my purpose I speak of Jesus Christ as a saint, a being without a subconscious, capable of doing anything, at any time. Discoveries have been made that a baby in the womb is forming the foundation of its personal thought form structure from conception, and I would like to introduce to you the idea, if you haven't heard it before, that the mind is formed before conception. The subconsciousness is brought forward from the last lifetime into the consciousness of the baby being born. For our purposes here, for that understanding of our thinking and how to create a healthier and happier life, though, we'll talk about the mind and life starting from the beginning as conception. If you can think of the mind as being like a computer, which it is entirely similar to, and your time of conception existing in the womb and transition from the womb making up the hard drive of your computer. A hard drive is the foundation from which all software is run. No matter what kinds of programs you have running on your computer, there is a basic hard drive that is very difficult to alter. This is what's called your birth scripting. The thoughts, sights, activities, feelings, people, and happenings that went on around you during your conception, womb, and birth are what form the foundation of your computer's hard drive. Think about it this way. Your mind consists of thoughts that were thought by you during your conception, your womb time, and your birth. This thinking is happening, whether you like it or not, until you become conscious of it and learn how to change it. Actually, you can become so skilled at understanding the birth trauma and how it affects people that when someone starts speaking, you can actually tell how the person was born. You can actually see how a person was born by the way they take a breath, by the way they get into relationships, and start and complete projects. Everything that happens to us until we become conscious and choose to make different decisions is simply happening repetitively. This is why people tend to get into similar relationships over and over again. This is why people tend to get into similar relationships over and over again, because they're trying to work out their birth trauma. The purpose for discussing the birth trauma with you is simple. As the first major experience in our lives, birth becomes the single most important and significant event in determining how we go about the repetitions in our daily life. It could be the single most significant event in determining why most marriages and relationships have such problems in making it past the famous 7-year itch mark, as the birth cycle affects us in oftentimes fearful ways around the 7th month of our gestation. If you look at the physical sensations that take place during the 7 to 10 month period during gestation, it appears very similar to the most common complaints that couples make about sensations in their relationships. Sensations like, I don't feel that there's enough space for me, or I need space. If you look at the sensations in the womb around this time, they are familiar. They're similar. The walls start to close in, and there's a feeling of not having enough space and anxiety about what might happen next. This, of course, is up for discussion and debate. Birth, in and of itself, is fascinating to me. The very notion of coming from the ethers and into a womb and existence as a human baby from a floating spirit is astounding. The growth of a single cell into a living and breathing human being is nothing short of miraculous. There are many books on the subject and studies, and many people who've experienced memories of their womb through the type of conscious connected breathing workshops that I mentioned before. These people are learning the same thing that the studies now show. A baby's mind is developing all the time, and the development starts, depending on which point of view you like to go with, from the time it's present in the womb. The exciting and interesting thing about this is that the conception, womb, and birth experience are what make up our basic psychological programming. This means that what happens to us in the womb and how we perceive what happens to us in the womb, which may or may not be accurate according to our perception, is going to be the root of how we think about the world and ourselves, how we perceive people, and how we interact with them. This programming goes so deep that it drives a major portion of our thinking in life, and therefore the outcome of that thinking. If you believe that thinking has any kind of impact on your life, which you probably do, actually you can look at a person's breathing, and if you're skilled in the kind of breath work that I've been trained in, you can tell everything that a person has ever had happen and everything about a person's life just from observing their breathing mechanism. It's true. Actually, if you get very skilled and alert to how this phenomenon works, you can tell everything about a person from the way they breathe and how good their relationships are, whether they have a tendency to make a lot of money or not, and if they have a great deal of passion in their life. If you don't believe me, I suggest you go and research this for yourself. Most psychological research will tell you that the mind of an individual is pretty much formulated, and all of the tendencies, patterns, and behaviors are set in the mind by the age of 5, and that everything that happens after that is pretty much a repetition up to the age of 5. This is not quite accurate, though. The truth is that what dictates repetitive thinking and patterns of behavior, and the outcome of those the most, is the conception, womb, and birth trauma. Why do I use the word trauma in relation to birth? And how does this impact your practice? Good question. I recommend that you read my book, The 7 Doors of True Healing, available at my website, www.lulu.com/Trent Inspires. This has been an excerpt from Chapter 4, Door 4, Your Birth Team Trauma. Thank you for watching.